Welcome everybody, it's ProfeMalachi. I'm the real English teacher that's showing you how to get that level of English mastery that you're looking for. I'm so excited to bring to you today a very unique and interesting interview. This interview is with one of my very good friends, Igor. He's from Siberia, Russia, and we happen to speak all of the same languages. In this piece, we talk about how English can open doors for you. We share some knowledge, wisdom, and insight, seeing as we are both English teachers ourselves. Igor has helped me immensely with my Russian language skills. He's an incredible teacher and a very interesting, beautiful, amazing person. I'm so excited to share this conversation with you today, and I know that you're gonna learn a lot. So just sit back, relax, and get ready to take your English skills to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Igor. I'm from Siberia, but I'm fond of languages because I'm fond of speaking to people, and that's how I got to speaking English, French, Spanish, Portuguese as my main languages, and Russian, of course. And I'm learning German, Persian, and Hindi at the moment.
I did not know that you were learning Hindi.
Yeah, I have lots of friends in India, and here in Siberia we have Indian people also, and the culture is very diverse and different from mine, but the language is similar at some extent. Learning one language helps you learn another language. As in French, Spanish, and Portuguese, they help each other.
Yeah.
So it will be easier for me to learn Italian or the Roman language. And people are more welcoming, and they are friendly, knowing that I'm struggling learning their language, and they will help me gladly.
That is very true. When people see you making that effort, very few people.
Let me just do some fancy background blur like you did.
Yeah.
Because I'm here at my parents' place, so that's my parents' bedroom, so I live here.
I'm just here in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, that's cheating because you actually you are in San Francisco. You could have just okay.
I could have just traveled there.
You could have for the
just for the flex.
A student should put this to lay this out. Okay, Profe, just give me 1 second in loading.
Yeah, this is cool, right?
Yeah, I need a cocktail in the coconut shell, not the mug.
So are you ready for your English lesson on the beach?
I want to in the future get here, so learn language.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Spanish. Yeah, if you want to learn Spanish and discover yourself here.
Yeah,
here on the orbit. Yeah, sure.
I have actually had that, like the classic thing that everybody wants, right? They're like, oh, I want to be able to work from the beach on my laptop or something. Just so you know, that is very impractical, first of all.
Impractical to work on the beach?
Yeah, it's so fucking impractical because the sun,
you do nothing. You just
the sun is blaring. You literally cannot see your screen. You get sand and everything. Typically, there's not a good internet connection. There's no there's no outlets whatsoever. So if any of your devices die, you're fucked. If you have to go, I have a tiny bladder, which sucks.
Thanks for sharing.
Because I have a tiny bladder. And so if the second I have to use the bathroom, I have to pack my whole station up and then go find some restaurant.
You go your whole office, basically.
Yeah, and then go find some restaurant or cafe that will let me use their bathroom. And
and work there too.
Yeah, it's very impractical.
Here in Russia, we have, what do you call them?
Co-working space?
Co-working. And that's basically the place where you just go with your computer, and it's a cafe or a food court. So a lot of cafes and different cuisines are around, and just stay in the middle.
But do you pay like an entrance fee or something?
No, you don't pay anything. You just pay for food. Yeah. Just outlets there and food. So you just order something. You can go just stay there and work for free. Yeah, it's like a cafe with lots of outlets and good internet, and yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Good to know. I present to you Earth, where all human beings are busy trying to learn each other's language.
If you
Because
want
they
to get
don't.
out of Earth,
That's actually
learn the language.
Yeah, everything that you want in life, you will get it if you learn a language.
I think I told that yesterday to one of the students.
Yeah,
This exact idea. Yeah.
really.
'Cause you,
Tell me more.
yeah, because learning the language serves to communicate, to connect you to somebody. And the amount of languages that you speak increases the amount of people you can talk to. And you never know what people are doing, what they do in life. And talking to them can bring you somewhere where you don't really expect. So whatever you think of doing, you can find it by exploring your ideas. Just, I want to do that. If you say that in Russian, okay, my native language is Russian, I say that in Russian. So Russians hear me out. Okay, we don't do that here. And I'm left with no possibility. If I say that exact thing, I want to do this, something, to an English person or a French person, and there's one person who does that too in France. And this person says, okay, I do that too in France here. And I'm the only one, actually. I would be glad if we'll be partners. I'll be glad if we are partners. That's new possibilities for you. And if you say that in English, which is like world language now, a huge lot of people, if you can say that, it's really plenty, bunch, heap, an enormous amount of people can hear you and say, okay, I want to buy that. Whatever you are doing, like your new thing that you just invented, I want to buy that. I'm interested. I never heard of this. Yeah, wow, nice. Yeah. So just by speaking one language, you have limited possibilities. By speaking lots of languages, English first, then other languages, you can explore that. You can grow, you can develop as a person, as a professional in some area. That gives you possibilities. You can get anything you want by just saying what you want.
Do you know this app, couchsurfing?
Do I? That's the huge, come on. It gave a huge impact on my language learning. I started getting familiar with languages through couchsurfing because I learned French at school when I was in school, and I just heard it from my teacher. She speaks really good French, but it's just a teacher. So it's a person who teaches you. She's very inspired. She was very inspired. I don't know. I hope she's alive. So she is inspired by the language, and she would just speak all the time French, and we just, any explanation, please? It's just random new language. She didn't. We just heard French speech, and that's it. We didn't study the rules or anything. Just no grammar, no, just okay. 2 years. It didn't work. I just random speech. This is a familiar word, family, which is famille. Okay, we have the same word in Russian. That's it. And through couchsurfing, there are a couple from France here in Siberia, and they would speak French, and they would just pronounce things and just, okay. And that's how you pronounce that? And say, yeah, that's how we pronounce that. I know this word. I heard it before. I've heard it before. And they just started explaining what this word meant, how they used it. And it's like, okay. What if I want to say this? And they just gave me the phrase. I said, okay. That's how you pronounce it, actually? Because I know the phrase. I'm familiar with the phrase, probably, but something different.
That's not how I said it.
And they just, yeah, this we have nasal sounds and everything. I go, wow, really? And then I started understanding. I started to understand the how to apply, how to use the language, and I restored my French through couchsurfing. And yeah, it was the first step. I met them here like 15 years ago or something.
I had a very similar experience in learning Spanish. So the first time I ever heard about couch surfing was the first time that I was visiting Mexico, and somebody in one of the hostels there had mentioned it to me. He explained the idea, and I thought, I don't know about that. I'm probably not going to do that. And there was this meetup function, so you could just see what events were happening in the city. And I thought, that's so cool. And I saw there was this language exchange meetup at a bar. So I didn't know anybody at the time, and I thought, oh, what's the worst that can happen?
You don't have to know. You just go. You just, are you couchsurfing, guys? And yeah, you're our friend now.
So I went, and the rest was history. It was done from there, because I walked into the bar and there's like this 8, 9 people there that are all just curious, talking to each other, like, oh, what languages do you speak? Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Sweden. And everyone's helping each other out and chatting. And that was the first time that I really got to get depth with the language, because even if you travel to the country, you still are at the surface level of you're ordering food and you're on the outside of the bubble. People treat you like a tourist, and they're like, oh, you don't know. And couchsurfing is such a good way. It's such a good way to get inside the bubble, because then maybe you're hanging out with each other over the course of a few days, and you just have to be exposed to those different scenarios where, oh, now we're getting in the car and people are just going to say all kinds of stuff to you. Hey, do you have the keys? Did you grab the keys off the table? And because you're moving around and using the language in those scenarios, that's really like when you start putting it all together. Have you ever studied Japanese, actually?
I studied some characters, but I don't know. I studied intonation. Whoa! That's what was that about? Yeah, I had a guest from Japan and I showed him the door. That was the reaction. He says, whoa! The door that you open it like this, not like this. Yeah, and he was like amazed. Yeah.
I love that. Whoa! He was so amazed by the door. There's got to be other things that he was amazed by.
All of them. Washing machine, the doorknob that just turn like this, and like teapots and everything.
Wow.
He was just, he was expressing surprise and amusement.
Learning English for non-native English speaker actually provides another interesting benefit for people like yourself that are interested in learning multiple languages, because like, for example, how many good Russian to Japanese textbooks do you know?
They have it there, but there are some books, just few, not a lot.
If you were trying to find good resources to try to learn Japanese, a lot of that
you would go with English first.
So it becomes like a gateway.
Actually it is.
Nowadays, so many of the major universities, top name universities, publish their entire courses on the internet for free.
This is like, so cool.
You could get an undergraduate degree from a top name university on almost any subject that you want. You can get an entire education on the internet for free. All of that's in English. It's not that those resources don't exist in other languages. They do, but they're not nearly as many. Say it's like for a more specific skill, like you want to learn video editing, you're going to find an e-course, or even going just a YouTube route. There's a YouTube tutorial for literally everything now. So that becomes another part of that, the gateway, the kind of the key to everything.
It expands your field of search, so you can and Actually, that's more about polyglotism, if there's a term. But I would prefer.
I think that's a term.
We should make it a term. If it's
Well,
not a term.
Okay. So is a term mainly because this is one of the reasons that I like talking with you, and I like talking with English teachers that are not natives, because in many ways their English is better than mine. Because you had to learn all the rules. I didn't have to
And
learn
follow
the fucking
them.
rules. And so I'll catch you say and correct yourself on certain things, and I'm like, oh, I make that.
I wouldn't correct myself.
Yeah,
I would correct, but bother correcting myself.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I guess like my kind of unique way of teaching is I'm specifically like not the rule guy. My kind of philosophy is, do you understand what I mean? I understand what you mean. Yes. Even if it's not the fucking Oxford Dictionary definition, it doesn't matter, because language is alive. It's developing. Like, let's say polyglotism is not a word in the Oxford Dictionary. That becomes a form of slang, and it doesn't really matter because you understand it. I understand it. We both have enough concepts and context to understand it. It works. That's the whole point of language, is communication. So if we've effectively communicated, language has done its job.
The thing is, with English language and Russian people specifically, we don't have this much structure in our language because we have cases of the word, like in German, right? The endings change according to the action.
Yeah.
So in Russian, we can put words in different order. By the ending, we know that belongs here, actually, that he does that to this person. And in English, you cannot do that. The position is very important.
It's very important, yeah.
Order of things. But Russians tend to do that, like
just
mess around with the words.
You just like piece it together wherever you want.
And who does that to you? You do that to him, or he does that to you? Like, put them in the right order. Then I will understand. So too much freedom in that sense doesn't make sense. So the phrase goes, they put words inside the structure, and just follow one simple rule. This one. Who does what to what, where and when.
Anyway, it's interesting. And I have literally never failed to get this reaction. Without fail, every single time is like, ты говоришь по-русски. Зачем? Не понимаю. Зачем? Зачем? Это не прав. Like, and they start getting really fucking suspicious. They're like, but why? I don't understand. They're like, and I'm like, oh, I just learned it shit. It's fun. It's cool. When we first talked to you, you had the same thing. You're like, what? Like, I was explaining like my weird way of learning to you, and you were like,
I remember that. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
2.5 almost.
I still remember the one word that I like got out of that conversation. It was like, четвертого апреля, I think.
4 апреля?
4 апреля. Because you asked me like, it was something like начал, it starts.
Начал.
Yeah. Когда ты начал, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, как я сказал тебе, я изучаю словари, когда у меня нужно использовать. To use.
Yeah,
it's just 14th of April. You're like, 4 апреля. And
the 14th. That's a different.
Because that was like the day that I started learning Russian.
14. Ooh, 14.
14.
Yeah, 14 is 14. 14 is that after 10, they all end with sit. 14. Oh, that's a long word. 14, it's 14. The 14. 14. That's a long word.
Yeah, that's the other thing about Russian words is like like getting them to stick in my memory is so hard, because it's a different alphabet, and they're like
different combinations of letters.
Yeah, difícil. I had to get that. I had to say that word so many fucking times, man.
Действительно, yeah.
But it becomes easier because you start recognizing patterns, and then you get better at guessing how words sound based on grouping verb, like consonant and vowel clusters together, and you can it's like chunking.
Yeah, chunking. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's, yeah,
on April 14th.
yeah. So
It's
maybe
in the case.
maybe I don't actually remember it. But yeah, so I have that weird way of learning, but it's worked for me.
I believe there are theories on how to learn any language more effectively, but I just believe that you need to get to know some techniques and apply them as soon as possible, as many as possible, and see if they work for you. Because it's one person, okay, it's majority of people probably studied for majority of people, but you are not a majority, you're a certain person. So some of them will work for you, and just pick 5 and just apply them all the time.
I think that's a really good point. Even if some technique you're doing is not like the most effective, if you would pick it and start doing it, then you can adjust it as you're practicing, but you still have to be doing it, right? As you're doing it every day, every week, every month, and then as you go with it, you will naturally have questions of, this feels like a waste of time. I wonder if there's a better way to do this. But then you actually have data and feedback from your personal experience.
And I think it's worth mentioning that people tend to learn the language as the final process. And for me, that's the intermediate process. So me, language, goal, not me and the language is the goal. No. By knowing and speaking the language, I reach some goals. So people just do that. They just, okay, I will learn the language, and they just learn it and don't use it. What are you learning for?
This is also one of the major problems with learning in a class and learning in school is because it has to accommodate for 30 people in a class, 20 people in a class. And so it's this very generic curriculum that's okay, these are the words about a car and words about shopping and words about the mall. And you learn all this random vocabulary that it's not relevant to what you want to say. And so I'll take your idea one step further. And so you have your goal, then you need to use that end goal to inform your content consumption and creation in the language. So you're a software developer. It makes no fucking sense for you to be watching the news in English. You should be listening to podcasts by software developers, learning the way that the people that use that language in your field for your goal, learning that specific jargon, right?
Just to learn the language is not the goal. To achieve something through the language, that's the goal. I recommend watching videos of what people are interested in the language. Nevertheless, they don't understand what's going on, but they learn information. They learn the skill or craft or whatever explained in the target language. So they learn the craft, and they would get used to getting information through the language, through different language. And they will see the language as their helper, as their tool to receive something they want to reach the goal. Even if they don't understand, but they see that it's welcoming. There's a person explaining, giving you the information for free on YouTube, but he speaks English. Okay, I need this information, but yeah, sure, it can work out. We just English. I know some words. I'm studying the language to get the information in the end.
I was actually just reading a Portuguese grammar book because so I learned Spanish first and then I learned Portuguese. You learned Portuguese and then you learned Spanish, right?
I learned Spanish before.
Oh, really?
I learned Spanish 5 years before.
But you would say that your Portuguese is better.
Portuguese is better, yes.
Okay. So in my case, my Spanish is much better. But, okay. De fato, podemos conversar em português?
Claro!
Yeah? Ok, ok.
Só que a gente pode
Ok.
conversar em português.
Ok. Vou tentar.
Deixa eu trocar com português, tá? Tudo bem.
Yeah? Ok. Qual foi o verbo que você utilizou?
Trocar.
Trocar. Ok. Vou
Uhum. Cambiar,
trocar. Ok,
trocar,
cérebro
trocar.
português. Então, lindo o livro de gramática, porque
Uhum.
eu aprendi a gramática de espanhol, não de português. Estudei tudo gramática de espanhol e eu sei muito bem. Mas quando eu comecei a falar português, que tem muitos aspectos, as diferenças e os
Uhum.
detalhes, right? Isso vem depois. Você primeiro pode se comunicar, falar com vizinhos. E
Melhorar, sim.
estou lindo. Melhorar?
Você está melhor.
Melhorar.
Você é
Yeah.
lindo como uma pessoa
Lendo,
linda.
oh, lendo,
Você é
lendo.
muito linda.
Oh, eu estou lindo.
Estou lindo, um livro.
Eu estou
I'm beautiful and the book.
lendo, ok. Então, estou
Estou lendo.
lendo mas quase não consigo entender o livro de
O
gramática.
livro de
Yeah,
gramática.
estes livros, sabe? Like, que me escreve essa
Esses livros
Yeah,
úteis, sim.
ok.
E são em inglês
Ah,
para os que aprendem português.
se
Muito bem
chama
explicado
Pois Não? Ah, ok.
em espanhol. Tem, enfim,
Yeah?
para não aplicar o tempo, o passado, o futuro, para não aplicar isso
Oh.
antes de ir, antes de eu ir, antes de você.
Yeah, é interessante. É que eu posso usar
Uhum,
isso antes de ler a regra
uhum.
e saber. Yeah,
Repetido, que repita
right.
muitas vezes, você, isso é padrão,
Yeah.
isso eu
Por
repito.
exemplo, like, Duma,
Uhum,
nunca aprendi as regras
uhum.
para isso,
Como construir.
mas talvez isso é porque é muito parecido ao espanhol
É, em
e tem
espanhol não
muitos
tem, eles
padrões.
não juntam.
Não, mas os padrões, eu posso transferir um
Uhum,
pouco de reconhecer o padrão e
uhum.
ver como aqui deveria de mudar e assim. Por exemplo, right now, posso,
Tem imagem das terminações, porque não tem lógica em que, qual letra
yeah,
memoriza e repita muitas vezes, porque a gente,
yeah,
quando eu era criança, eu não estudava isso, eu só repetia de meus pais, né?
yeah,
Eles
yeah,
falaram, eu repetia. Eles falavam, eu repetia isso. Logo depois, na escola, essas terminações são de padrão número 1, esse padrão número 2, que se chama tal e tal coisa. E aí a gente aprendia a estruturar esses padrões, já
uhum,
sabendo como é o correto, né? Eu repetia sem pensar.
uhum,
Repetir que parecia mais natural, que a gente ouvia mais vezes, soa mais natural. E assim, em idiomas, você pode aprender
porque escuta.
com pessoa que já fala, que é nativo, pessoa que é nativa essa língua que você está aprendendo. Actually, this is a good point to say in English.
Yeah,
You just repeat right after native person, and you don't have any doubts that this is the correct way.
yeah,
Even
shadowing.
if the person doesn't say it correctly, you can say, okay, Americans say that.
I started studying with Hello Talk in the last 6 months of
Mm,
studying Spanish in high school.
mm,
And that's when it clicked. But for me, there was actually something that changed in my life and my mindset that got me
mm,
interested in languages. I spent like a year and a half like struggling through Spanish class at first.
mm.
And when some things clicked for me, I started investigating. I was like, all right, I'm trying to figure this out. I will learn Spanish. And that's when I started developing my way of learning. And I started talking to people on Hello Talk, and I started learning all of this like informal stuff as well. And I would put some of that stuff like on my test in Spanish class, but I put it in such a way that like the teacher would know that like
It's
I
on
would
purpose.
even put the correct version, and then I would put like a little slang and then like a winky face or something. It's like I would do it as a
You could do
flex
that? Yeah.
to go back to the word that we talked about at the very beginning. I did it as a flex.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's like in Portuguese, right? And if you just put tô aprendendo. Oh, onde você tá?
Onde você tá? Onde você tá?
Onde está? Onde está?
Você é muito longo. Você.
Onde está?
Onde está?
Onde
Está
está?
onde? Está onde?
Está onde? Está onde? Está onde?
Está onde?
Yeah.
Tá em casa?
Yeah, it's important to know this. And it's endlessly fun, endless possibilities.
Horizon, actually.
Yeah.
No horizon.
That's right. Go into the light, people. Come. I'll show you the way. All right. Thanks so much for sticking around. There you have it. That is Igor. Now, if you learned something new from today's video, if there was an insight, a comment, a discussion topic that you really liked, make sure to comment what it was below. I would love to hear your feedback. Let me know if there's anything specific that you want videos about in the future. And I'm so excited to have you here following this journey. Now go ahead and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.